So today we're going to be doing an unboxing of the light bar from Eagle Lights. There's the part number. All right, let's do this. Well packed. Tools, bolts. Here's the light bar. And here's the cables, the wires, that switch. So what I'm gonna want to do is I am gonna be switching this switch, which is perfectly fine. I'm sure it works just fine, but I want to do a more OEM look, and I'm gonna be adding this switch with a nice little on and off for my road light. So things that are gonna be needed to swap out this switch for this switch are going to be heat shrink, a heat gun, wire cutters, crimp connectors, and I'm also going to be using this MX150 connectors. Now I just want to let you guys know why I did this is just because I like it to look as an OEM. I'm not trying to say that there's anything wrong with this switch. This whole Eagle Light setup is actually very fantastic, almost plug and play. Don't have to swap over to this switch. Again, there's nothing wrong with this switch. It works just fine. Your light is gonna have no issues once you get it connected. I'm only doing it because that's how I want it. When I reached out to Eagle Light, I told them my idea, and I did become part of the affiliate program. Hint that they send me this light free of charge to test it out and show you guys the idea I have on how to plug it in if you guys don't want to double side tape this into your bike. But if you do, there's actually nothing wrong with that. I just don't like it, don't want to, and I'd rather go with this switch. All right, so as we can see, the reason why I chose this switch is because it's gonna sit right there and it's going to mimic almost the OEM look. That is the switch for my cool flow fan right there from Harley. Tools needed in order to be able to remove this gauge and cluster. It is a T25 and your key. Now, if you are like me and you are running the Cool Flow chassis fan, you gotta unplug it. Now that plug is easy to unplug. This one, it is a pain because if you can see how it is, see that little tab? It's actually facing that wall right there. So you gotta be very careful in order to remove it. Another thing to keep in mind is that I had to remove it with that little fork and indicator is because mine is aluminum and it is not the easiest thing to get off. The easiest way was to remove this from right here and then just pull it out because like I said, yeah, this is not the easiest thing to get off. Now this is something that you probably might not need, but I choose to do it because I'm not gonna be using that plug anymore. I am gonna put a cap like this. I just happen to have a spare plug. It's a 3-pin plug, sealed it up with some heat shrink. So no dust and nothing and no water will get in it. Now with the same 25 Torx, you're gonna remove these 2 bolts. Now again, this is if you're gonna go with the same switch I'm going with. In order to remove this, you need a T25 Torx, and that's how it looks. And now, to run the light, I am gonna have to take off the seat, my tour pack, and hopefully I don't have to take the tank off. I can run the cable underneath there, but we'll see when we get to that point. So let me go ahead and do that, and we'll get back to it. And it looks like for the way I want it installed, it looks like I am gonna have to run the cable underneath the tank, so I gotta remove the tank. All right, now that the tank is off, go 2 bolts here, fuel line, bolt on this side and bolt on that side, tank comes off. All right, so the bracket has been installed. You got the 2 holes and the bolts right there. One's on the other side, right there. And I got the wire running through here. It's coming out right here. I have this wire pre-run, kind of going along here. And then I'll tighten it all up right now. All right, so I got the cable ran, zip tie, some through here, and got my cable all routed. You guys want to double check, make sure you can raise your front so you can twist and hear if there's any binding, because you don't want your cable, this cable, to be rubbing up against this. So you move your wheel to make sure your cable is completely free and clear. And you can see light on. Press the switch. And then once you put your tank back on, like I said before, you got 2 bolts right here. You got that one right there. And then 1 more right there. Now make sure you guys always, once you put your tank back on, plug it back on, and put this breather line back in place. Ask me how I know, because I happen to previous time button everything all up. Went to turn the bike on and it was telling me low range. And I had to take everything back on to make sure I plug in the fuel pump. All right, so I got the tank, seat, and the tour pack back on. Now I'm gonna get ready to install this. You wanna make sure you plug in everything that you need to plug in, which is this for your gauges. This one, if you have the cool flow fan, or even if you don't, you wanna make sure you plug that in. And you wanna plug this one on too. But in my case, I'll be plugging this one because this is the one that is going to be running this switch for the bar light. Now just remember, you don't have to go too crazy. That's plastic to plastic. Now if you chose to, or you have one of these and it's tight and you don't want to break it, there's only one orientation the way this goes in, which is that way. Try to put it in this way, it won't not go in. So you can see? So that little section goes towards the gauge and smoothly. And then just grab this, tighten it up. Now this wasn't super tight there, so hand tight and it will do. Boom. Now there are quite a good amount of videos on how to remove your ignition key. So, but you press that little tab right there and you twist your key towards you. So you put your spring back on. Slide that in. Turn the key. Now, this doesn't do anything for my bike. This is now just a steering lock because I have the CVO startup. And then, boom, the bike comes on. I mean, this doesn't do anything. All right, there it is. Now at night we'll do some adjustment, but so far so good. All right, so the installation is complete. Like I said, I went with this switch. If that's not the route you want to go with and you want to go with the switch that the Eagle Lights R light comes with, that is completely fine. That will work just fine. The installation will be the same thing. Or if you want to run it somewhere underneath the tank here, that's fine, but I found it easier to remove the tank and run the cables underneath there in the tank, underneath the seat, plug it in with the positive and the negative. And I really like the way the light looks. It kind of, you know, unless you know it's there, kind of gets lost if you look from behind, you know. With the gloss black on it, it just doesn't stick out like a sore thumb. Overall, it was a very simple installation. Glad that Eagle Light sent me those lights to test them out at night. We'll do a trip and we'll see how, you know, the true brightness of them. If you have the factory gas console, you might be able to get away with running it underneath it and don't have to remove the tank. I don't have that luxury because the wire right there would have shown, and I didn't want to go with that look, but the OEM one kind of goes further down a little bit more. But other than that, I am happy with how it came out. I do have a discount code. The link will be in the description. Please check them out. They got a ton of lights. They even have headlights like this. They have headlights for the street glides, street bob, you name it, any Harley, they have the headlights, and it's definitely worth it to check them out.